All right, how many people here like theft? Anybody? Anybody? No, didn't think so. All right, well today I'm going to talk a little about internet security. And internet security is very important because I personally, as I'm sure many of you do, have a lot of personal information on there that would not be great if it fell into just anybody's hands. So to prevent that from happening, data going over servers, if it's a good, if it's a reputable source, it's encrypted. So that basically means that it's turned into code when it's being transmitted to the website or server. And so about 66% of the internet uses what's called OpenSSL. Let's see if this marker works. It doesn't. Well, it kind of does. Thankfully, I brought my own. OpenSSL. And SSL stands for Secure Sockets Layer. And basically what this is, it's an open source encryption platform that is used very widely on the internet. And recently, something happened, and by recently I mean about last week, a severe flaw in OpenSSL was discovered, leading many people to panic and freak out. This is big, and they call it Heartbleed. And the reason they call it that, I'll show you. Okay, so say you have your computer here, right? And then you're trying to connect to this server over here. And so you're logging in to your account on whatever this website is. Say it's Gmail. So you have Gmail there, and you're establishing a secure connection to Gmail. Now, so that means that all your data is being encrypted as it's going over there. Now, after a while, a lot of the connections will just kind of time out. And so, in order to prevent that from happening, because say you might want to leave it sitting for a while and not have the connection time out. And so what it does is this thing called Heartbeat, and that means from time to time your computer will send something. So say it basically asks the server, "Hey, server, are you still there? If you are, reply with giraffe, for example. Giraffe, 7 characters." That's its characters. And so then the server is like, okay. And so it replies, giraffe. And then basically just establishes that the connection is still active. And I'm just using giraffe as an example. That's not actually what they say. But, and then, it could be anything, it could be bird, whatever. But then what happens when the computer, what if I was, trying to get something out of that server? So I'm like, hey, server, are you still there? If you are, reply with cat. 64,000 characters. And the server's like, all right, sweet, cat. And then it proceeds to give me the next 64,000 characters of whatever else is in the memory on the server. So it could be, blah, 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 John Smith requests password change to blank, 64,000 characters, right? And so that's a big deal because we generally like our information to be secure. Now, this bug was just discovered recently, but it had the potential for being exploited for about 2 years, and it was just discovered. The unfortunate thing is there's absolutely no way of being able to tell whether it was exploited or not, because the server doesn't keep track of who's connecting, because it's not differentiating between whether you said cat 64,000 characters or cat 3 characters. There's absolutely no way to tell. And so when this was discovered it was discovered independently by a group of researchers from Google and another independent group, I believe, called Codenomicon or something like that. Anyway, they found it, and panic ensued last week. Oh, it's all over the place. People are freaking out. And while there's not really anything you can do about it, it has to be done on the server's level. Most major places have issued patches for it. So they've updated their version of OpenSSL, and you're good. Most places have. So once it's been updated, then you are free to change your password. That's a good first step to something else, because then anyone trying to access this, or anyone who may have previously accessed it, won't be able to figure that out. So, I want to go over a little bit on how you can protect yourself. When choosing passwords, it's good to be secure and to choose something that not just anybody would be able to guess. So I'm going to give you a few principles for choosing good, secure passwords. The first one is don't use personal information. If your password is like your place of birth and then your birthday, chances are that information is out there somewhere. You probably have your birth date on Facebook or whatever. That's going to be easy for someone to go in and say, oh, hey, this is their stuff. We can kind of guess. Anyway, another good way is to use special characters like exclamation parts or question marks or numbers also, and punctuation like colons, semicolons, commas, whatever, because that is abnormal. And when someone tries to crack a password, generally they have a script that'll do it for them. It's called brute forcing a password, and it'll have a bunch of commonly used words or phrases, and chances are if what you choose is really long and it's not using anything that's easily identified, then your password is going to be very, very difficult to get into. And so they're going to be like, hey, this isn't working. We should try somebody else who has not picked such a difficult password. A third one, and this one I had never seen before until recently, and it's inverting your password. So say your password is yams _15. You would take that and you would basically just flip it. So then you would say it would become yams _15, 51 _SMAY. And so you just doubled it in length and made it that much more difficult to crack or guess. Fourth, very, 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 very important one, can't stress it enough, don't use the same password for all of your accounts. Because that means that if you use the same password, once they have one password, they have all of your passwords. And so they can be like, oh, hey, well, they use this password at this site. Maybe we can use it on this one, and we can use it over here. And oh, lo and behold, it works. Let's try it on this one, and this one, and this one, and look, they have access to all of your information. So that's important don't do that. Another good one is to get a password manager, which is basically, it can be an internet service, and they'll generate passwords for you that are extremely long and store them all securely under multiple layers of encryption. And then you use a single master password to gain access to all of your passwords there. And so that master password, of course, would follow all the other rules and be extremely long, and preferably you would be the only person that knows it, and you commit it to memory so that no one would ever be able to get it. Those are really good, and most password managers